I'm excited for your sophomore. I'm excited for what it's going to be, and what the
Yeah,
future
me
looks
too.
like.
It's set 75 years into the future.
In Jesus' name. Quiet boy is an old man now. Quiet boy is an old man now in this one. No?
Quiet boy has given back to the don't let me say anything.
Noisy Book Club podcast exclusive right here. Welcome to the Noisy Book Club podcast. My name is Benny, manager of all things Noisy Book Club. And for this episode, we're diving into our September book of the month, The Road to the Salty. And I am so excited to be joined by its author, Mr. Samuel Kolawole. Mr. Samuel is a Nigerian writer whose work has appeared in leading journals and anthologies across the world. He studied at the University of Ibadan. He trained at the Farafina Trust Creative Writing Workshop, and he is currently a tenured track professor at Penn State. The Road to the Salty is his debut novel, and it has been praised for powerful storytelling and an unflinching look at survival, faith, migration, and a search for freedom. It won the 2025 Whitting Award for Fiction, was a finalist for the 2025 Penn/Hemingway Award for Debut Novels and the International Book Awards, and was also longlisted for the 2025 Aspen Words Literary Prize. It's haunting, it's gripping, and it asks so many important questions about life, fate, and what it means to escape consequence. Mr. Samuel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. So glad to be with you.
How does it feel to have your debut novel be read, be felt by so many people, and then be given all these recognitions?
Well, it feels I feel honored that I get to do this. It's one thing to follow your passion. Is another thing for your passion to kind of find, for what you are passionate about to succeed. It's also another thing for it to be rewarded, and for people to connect with your work. From all over the world, and I think I'm privileged. I'm grateful to God that I was, that this is happening, now. It's been a product of a lot of years of hard work, but it's much more than that. I just think it's God's grace somehow.
Well, personally, I am happy for you because this book was a total surprise to me how important it would become in my experience as a reader, because I feel like it has totally changed my view and also made me a bit more empathetic towards like people, because we've been discussing before very human characters, very flawed characters, and I don't necessarily hate or harbor anger towards any of them, and I think that's a success when a book first and foremost makes you feel, and maybe even makes you kinder, because that's what's most important, I believe, to me. So I have to ask, like, there's a question that we love to ask. I love to ask it. We love to ask it at Noisy. What is your story? When did you know that you had to become a storyteller?
Thank you very much. I've said this so many times, but it started many years ago. I was, I first wanted to become a doctor. For some reason, I lost interest in that. That didn't work out. Then I think I was in my late teens when I became depressed for no reason. I didn't know why. I just didn't want to interact with any human. So I would lock myself up in the room. I would not come out for days. I'll just say I won't come out. My mom would be giving me food, sleeping food. It was that bad. It was
like
bad.
a patient.
Yeah. And but because my father retired as a researcher, And my mom, taught also. We always had books around us. We grew up with books. Um, so in where I was in the room, I had a bunch of like stacks of books around me, and because I was alone and I didn't want to interact with any human, I decided to interact with books. In that sense, and I read, and I kept on reading. I read a lot. Um, Started with the classics: Charles Dickens,
Mm.
Mark Twain,
Ernest Hemingway,
Hemingway, Scott
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. Um, and then I moved from there to the renowned African Heinemann African Writer series,
Mm.
which was really great. That was when the transformation happened. When I started reading,
African
yeah,
literature.
One Man, One Machete, Man of the
Mm.
People, uh,
Really?
yeah,
Wow, back.
works by Ngugu
Thiongo.
Wathiongo, by Peter Abrahams,
Any
that,
Benokri?
yeah, I later read Benokri's Famished Road, which was what made me think about writing in the first place. But after my experience, what I realized was that the my interactions with books lifted me out of depression.
Mm.
All of a sudden, I began to see the world through a new light. Um, I just felt better the more I read,
Mm.
you know, and that was it. And I woke up one morning and decided, why not write?
All right.
You
And
know,
this was just after the depression.
yes. After I'd recovered, fully
Mm-hmm.
recovered from it, and since then I've not looked back. Um, yeah, it's been more than 20 years now.
Mm. I would say it's almost like there was energy inside of you that you didn't have the words to describe or the practice to let it out. And it kind of like forced you into that isolation.
Mhm.
And then in it is because the right time you needed to come out and you needed time.
Mhm.
You needed time. So you needed to be surrounded by books. You needed to be surrounded by things that would, transport you to a whole different place. And then in it came out the writer, you know. Sometimes the things that don't look like blessings are actually blessings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, these books transported me to new worlds,
Mm.
and I was able to, it was as if I lived my life vicariously through those characters in a way. And that did the trick for me. I worked the magic for me.
Mm.
And so that was so now when I write, I think about someone who is going to pick up my book, and
Maybe the book that saves them too.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
And speaking of this particular book, this particular story, it was a short story 1st.
Mhm.
It was a short story. How you published it? How did you know that? Okay, it has to evolve into something so much more larger.
Because people loved it. Because as simple as well, it was purely.
Oh my!
It was purely.
People like my work. I shall write a novel.
Yeah, people loved it, and also it connected with people in a very special way, in the sense that I was getting all these emails and messages from all over the world, and they were telling me how kind of the story resonated with them, and how it was an important topic. They kept mentioning the word important. I was like, if this thing is that important,
Why not give them more?
There's something I could do, and uh, I don't know if you've heard this story before, but I've said it so many times. The short story itself came after I went on this artistic road trip, the Invisible Borders project. I think it was in 2012 or so.
That's a while.
And we got to Ghana, and I met people who I met some guys who had gone to try to get to Europe through the Sahara, and they shared their stories with me, and that was it. and I just couldn't get my mind
Off of it.
off. Uh, and you know, I knew I had to do something about it.
Mm.
So I'd been thinking about the story for a while before that happened, before I eventually wrote the story. And usually it takes me about 2 or 3 months to write a short story, the first draft of a short story. This story took me a single night.
Wow.
Yeah.
It had been brewing.
Yeah. And it was written in a first person plural perspective.
Mm.
The we
Yes.
voice.
Was there anything different about this interaction with these people that you met during that artistic road trip experience that made you write the story? Like,
Yeah, before then, it was just something you would see in the headlines, and
Mhm.
someone would talk about. It was the first time I was going to meet someone who actually went on that journey.
Mhm.
So that was different for me. So it was like I was putting a face to this crisis that people talk about, that you see in the news. I say, okay, this is actually someone, and that's the purpose. That's the point. That's the point of this whole thing, this book project, because it's about saying, these headlines that we see every time. These are actually people.
Yeah, actually people. They're not just.
They're not numbers.
Mhm.
They're not, like I
They're
said,
not words on a screen.
Yeah, they are women. They are men. They are fathers. They are daughters. These people are lovers. These people are, dreamers.
Humans.
Yeah.
Like you, like us.
Mhm. I wanted to write something truly, truly complicated because the situation itself, the theme, that is truly complicated. So how do you, for example, what do you say about someone that travels illegally to another person's country, who, by the virtue of their movement, have broken the law? You know, uh, but that's not. It's not that easy. It's not that the answer is not that easy, right? So this kind of binary thinking that we often engage when we are trying to think about these things. So that's what I try to do. And it was also more about interrogating the systems that makes people like that do
Make
what
these
they do.
choices.
So that is very important in this novel, because beyond the characters, we have the systems, uh, the system that causes class disparity, the system of corruption, even with aid organizations. So these
Very real.
various systems, for example, Africa contributes the least to the emission of greenhouse gases on in the world.
In the world.
But they are the most affected by climate change. People, and we have all these post-colonial issues. That's when people look at it, face value, they think, oh, Nigerians just leave. They just they go to other people's country and they spoil it. But people don't understand
what damage has already been done even before.
Yeah, the what colonialism did to us, and how it and some of the post-colonial problems, including military government and incursions, including the corruption of politicians, and all of that. So these are some of the things that I try to grapple with.
Yeah, trauma is passed down like subconsciously too. Even though I wouldn't say that I was born during the military regime, but because of the people who were born during that time, I've been able to collect some of it.
I grew up.
Yeah.
Oh
but,
my God.
But yeah, I who hasn't my father was born my father was born before the Civil War. So he experienced it. And and through just living with him, I've been able to like collect some of that trauma. His anger is also my anger. and these are the kind of things that you carry with you. And I do feel it, especially in people like once again, like Ben 10. I don't know his story, but I know that like it's this situation that he's been in that has made him feel like this is the decision, this is what he has to make. What I would like for you to do for me is, could you give me what would you say quickly is in the character Bible for Able God and character Bible for Ben 10? Because I do think that Able God judged him a lot. Sorry, I'm using my hands, but yeah, I do think that Able God judged him like a lot and like saw through the cracks in his facade, right? So in my head, I kind of see them as like opposites, yeah, antithesis to each other. So what is in their character Bibles?
They're opposite, but they're also the same in so many ways. You know, there's this way in which Abel God clearly sees through him.
Mm.
But because of so many other things going through, the Abel God is dealing with. So think about it. You know, you know. Oh, so the idea of I'm teaching a class this semester called literature of the road. You know, and about movements, about journeys, um, and the idea is the road is symbolic of of intersections and decisions.
Pauses.
Yeah, of so many of those things, and this story is again the road to Saucy is is about the decisions we make or don't make, the decisions we are forced to make. Um, so Able God is really, really very clear about who this person is, but it goes on that journey anyway because it's not about him. It's about what is behind him. so
Yeah,
so
what he's leaving,
yeah,
what he's
yeah,
running.
what is running away from. So he's forced to make this journey all the same, despite the fact that he sees Ben 10 clearly.
Clearly.
Yeah. Ben 10, on the other hand, is the guy just does what he does. And then he does all these things and then profits from it and then leaves. But you see, they are both dreamers. All the characters in that book are dreamers. So their dreams might be complicated. What they want might be complicated, um, might be, but they are all dreamers. So it's a book about dreamers. Able God is a dreamer, albeit a reluctant one. Um, and Ben 10 is also a
Dreamer.
dreamer. So that's what makes them very, 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 very similar. Uh,
I think one of my favorite dreamers, like apart from that I clearly see as a dreamer, apart from Able God, is Morufu.
yeah.
He's so resilient.
That's my favorite character.
He's a lovely character. He is. Why is he your favorite?
I don't know. I just
Did you model him after you?
no.
I tried. I tried.
I have some Marufu inside me.
Can't tell. No, I can't tell. He's very jolly.
Yes,
He's a very jolly.
yes, but beyond that, he's also delusional,
Not my words.
which is kind of charming.
I
Oh,
think that's the word. He's charming. Murphy is very charming.
it's delusional in the sense that so this journey is a very harsh journey. It's really harsh. Takes its toll on you, on your body, psychologically. So there needs to be something. You need to have something to get you through this journey. And for a lot of the characters, for some of them is religion. For some of them is the religion of soccer or football. for some of them, for someone like Morufu, is the dream
The dream of becoming a player.
of a player. Some, for most of them, is the out is what is at the other, the outcome, they they are perceived, perceived outcome and end. So for Morufu is that dream, even though that dream is so far fetched that is almost impossible.
His physicality, his
Yeah.
age,
Yeah.
it's just
So there's something very, very sweet about that.
something. I think it's ideal for me. I feel like if Able God didn't have Morufu, I don't think he might have gone. I don't think he might have gone
Yeah,
because Morufu is definitely somebody who believed in it so much more than Able God. And Able God needed that belief to be able to, he needed to tap into Morufu's beliefs to be able to do it, to be able to be like, okay, this decision I make, this is the best way to escape what I have to run from. But also, isn't that what being human is about?
Yeah.
To be able to be like, I am so completely moved by this desire inside of me to achieve so and so and such that I would take whatever route possible to me to get that. And that's what I see from Morufu. He's completely like human. He's completely the dream of, oh my God, I am dogged about becoming the person I have dreamt of, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, one would think that if Morufu didn't die, he'll perhaps get to Europe and discover that maybe his dream to become a footballer will kind of fizzle out, and then he will find something else, do something.
And I don't know, I still feel like he would have gotten a chance to be connected to football in some way. Yeah. He may not have been a player, but he was even reasonable. He was like, he's going to start from one of the smaller houses, But yes, he was delusional, but it was important. People got is pushed to the wall in this book, a literal life or death situation that sets off this journey that he goes on. And it wasn't a situation that was of his own making. He wasn't literally Akudo was in the room and she called downstairs and he picked up, and then he did what he did to Dr. Badero. And it was almost a mistake. But what would you hope that entire scene with Dr. Badero waking up and then immediately going for Able God's neck and Able God like fighting for himself? What did you want it to elicit? Because it's a very temperamental situation.
Yeah. In the first place, Able God picking up the call, that there's a, if you look at it within the context of the fact that Able God had always been concerned about
Akudo.
Concerned is not the word now. Being
obsessed.
So it was to me, it was the opportunity came for Able God to feel like to become heroic in a way, and his attempt at being heroic turned out to be something else.
It almost felt like he needed a win. That's to ask. Dr. Badero is a very interesting character in the book, and he's into BDSM. What does it take to be able to write somebody like that? What experiences does one have to be able to pour into a character like that?
Well, the good thing about being a trained fiction writer is because you don't have to experience anything like that before you write about it.
I disagree. Well, I disagree.
I have not experienced the Sahara Desert before. I've never been to the Sahara. I've never taken drugs in my life.
Okay, so what did you do to be able to write about the Sahara?
I immersed myself. I did a lot of things, and this is what I teach my students, how to process fiction, research into fiction. because I'm an immersive writer. So what I do is that I want to be able to picture what I want to write about first.
Mm,
So and if I am not familiar, I tell my students, write what you know, but also write what you want to know.
mm.
So it's about seeking knowledge. So I did a lot of research, wrote, read everything I could find about the trans-Saharan migrant crisis, and then I also watched a ton of videos, um, just hours and hours of videos and footages about
The migration
the
crisis.
migration crisis. Sometimes I'll just watch like the wind blowing over the sand dunes and
Mm.
everything. Uh, so I did that for a while until I was able to kind of immerse myself or into that experience, and that was how I was able to write. And then I set everything. I just wrote, you know. Um, so it's the same thing with BDSM.
I was waiting. Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting, but like lovely stuff you said about the migration crisis. But I was waiting for the same to be there. So you immersed yourself in videos of.
No, not videos. I have um I have a little bit of an understanding about BDSM.
Wow, I'm uneducated. Please inform me.
Well, we all know what that is.
What is it?
You know, no, the most important thing is that I was able to translate that
Mm-hmm.
into something that readers,
Mm-hmm.
have enjoyed.
Yeah, actually, because there's a reader that I recently spoke to about Dr. Badiro's character, and she was very, very. She gave me a lot of grace because she, in her words, it's like, why shame people for what they enjoy? We didn't exactly see what he did. What he did, there's things that allude to him being abusive, but what you gave us in the book was a man who just enjoyed, playing with power and being sexually dominant. So why are we seeing him as a villain, as an outright villain in this when there isn't evidence, when there isn't concrete evidence? She's also a lawyer, so they mago their way into all these excuses.
I think this speaks to the heart of what this book is about, which
Mm-hmm.
is it's about ambiguities.
Yes.
It's about I did not want to write a straightforward book.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to kind of fall into this binary thinking about
Mm-hmm.
issues and life,
And humans in
yeah, and
general.
humans. So so even Badero's case is like,
What is,
treads that fine line between abuse and BDSM.
amazing.
So it's really up to the reader to kind of figure it out or
Mhm.
project their own interpretation.
And I think that's one of my favorite things about being in a book club and talking to people, because before I spoke to her, I saw Dr. Badir very two-dimensionally. He was rich man, plays with power, but in the end, like having that conversation with her was like, maybe he's not just rich man, plays with power, because we are seeing him through the lens of somebody who is obviously jealous of him and who says that is Able God, the main character, and being part of a book club and discussing a book, like having that discussion with her made me, remove the lens in which I saw Badero from. I was able to be like, okay, there's a whole different side to it. And even some of my favorite characters in the book is Ben 10, and he's the most not straightforward person ever. Like in the entire book. But and I think that's why I gravitate to him the most, because he believes in his BS. He believes in his BS, right? He knows that like there's so much wrong that he's doing, but his job is to sell it. His job is to sell it. And I don't know, there's that connection to his duty, to this work that he's supposed to do. as bad as it is, that I'm like, wow, you're doing something absolutely deplorable, but you're doing it with like 100% certainty that there's no other choice that you have. And I connected to that a lot.
Yeah, one of the things I think about, or I was thinking about when writing this novel. I wanted to, I wanted each of my characters to be like to represent like a group of people.
Mhm.
For example, there are many Ben 10s in our world. They are unscrupulous, agents. They are agents of misery.
Yeah, touch not my anointed.
And they use religion
Mm-hmm.
as a tool, uh, sometimes as a cordial. Uh, um, Religion becomes a mask sometimes,
Mm,
and they use that to make other people miserable.
mm,
So I wanted to kind of play with that a little bit in my work.
And it shows. Lovely, lovely, like very human characters.
But really, like you said, bringing out the humanity in my characters, I was very, very particular about that, because the truth of the matter is that even if you are an unlikable character, there's something salvageable about.
So there's always,
There's always something that makes us human
human.
and makes us just about exploring the complexities of the human experience.
Yeah.
And I hope I was able to do that.
For me, at least, it did. For the people I've spoken to at the Noisy Book Club that have read it, they do feel the same. But I think you have seen some of the comments too, and shown them to you. Some of my favorite interactions were with Morufu, Gaddafi, and Able God during the course of the journey. And I just found it so hilarious and sad how at almost every stop they were looking for drugs. You mentioned how different people during that journey in that caravan had their religion, whether it's religion of a dream, the religion of soccer, actual faith in God.
Mhm.
And sometimes I felt like for them, it was the religion of drugs. They needed to be inebriated, intoxicated to survive the desert.
Mhm.
And what was it like? What was it like talking to people who may have experienced these things and needed the crutch of alcohol and sniffing glue
Mhm.
to be able to go through a journey like
Mhm.
that?
In the first place, I think I think Benton saw like an opportunity
Mm,
in 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 those guys. So I think that's very important. Um, that's a very important perspective, because Benton saw an opportunity. He saw a group of drug-addled
mm,
individuals, and he knew that he could sell them a dream,
mm,
and and a dream that they would, commit to, because they are already used to committing to things
mm.
in a way,
Anyway,
you
a
know,
very vulnerable group.
vulnerable group. So that's what really that is all about, and that kind of plays out in the novel as we move along.
Mm.
How they use drug as a coping mechanism as they move along. Um, we need to think about why they are on drugs in the first place.
Mm,
Um, they are, down on their luck. They they are not sure whether you know anything good is going to come out of.
Life is hard every day for them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you being in that position, and someone presents something that kind of sounds ridiculous, but is also not totally ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you don't have to pay for it, because that's actually the catch. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have
You
to
don't.
now pay.
And they did.
Which sounds very, very reasonable, right? Because you start asking the question, what's in need for Ben 10? But you see, if you think of it in from the perspective of, oh, Ben 10 is going to take his money eventually, then you understand. And then it's very likely that you trust him more. So all of that worked out, but drug use becomes a huge part of what sustains them on that journey.
Another thing that sustains them on the journey is actual religion, the practice of faith. Like Morufo would smoke a joint, Gaddafi would sniff glue, but they would do ablution and go and pray, and they would face east. Patricia would call everybody. One of my favorite moments reading the book was shortly after Quiet Boy slips and sleeps. Shortly after he falls off the truck, when they are at their next stop, they're all shooken by it. They're shaking, right? And Patricia just starts to sing. She has to sing a song of worship. And even Able God, who is quite agnostic, his voice is loud and singing along.
Because he leaves.
I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, you know. So it plays a very important role in this book. And Patricia is one of my favorite characters because she kind of acts as a reminder to this group that, like, okay, we need God to complete this journey. So what did it feel like writing these characters, like an agnostic, able God and his compatriots, who are more religious than him? What tool was religion for multiple people? Because even Ben 10 used religion a certain way, very different from how Patricia used religion.
I think it's a reflection of the Nigerian society.
Bam.
How religion has become, a kind of be all, do all kind of thing. Religion has become, first, religion has become fashionable.
Religion is politics, morality.
Exactly. So religion becomes a salve. It becomes, it becomes everything.
Everything.
And whatever is happening beneath that doesn't matter. Exactly.
Well, you are right. Yes.
Whatever is happening between that. So an armed robber will go to a pastor and say, "Bless our guns so that we can go and rob."
If we really think about it, if we're being honest, armed robbers are going to pastors in this country, but these armed robbers are not wearing masks.
Yeah, even the one that wear mask. Not to talk of the one that don't wear.
They're wearing agbadas.
Yahoo boys who would steal money, would do whatever they do.
And their mothers would pray for them.
Yes, and their moms would pray for them, or they will go and give offering in church. So this idea of religion becoming everything, and whatever happens beneath it doesn't matter. Religion doesn't dictate any form of morality. It doesn't dictate. Religion is just a tool for getting whatever you want to get, or for having to protect yourself from whatever is coming at you. So that's is a portrait of the Nigerian society in the 21st century.
For Ben 10, it's a tool to be able to psychologically control these people. If they can't fear me, I'll use God to make them fear, because at any point they could have actually all revolted.
He used God. He even used what's that thing?
The fetish.
What cultural?
The Babalawo guy, that came to swear them into, So it's like, he knows. Then again, they say Kini, but I just love Ben 10 as a character because he's very smart like that. He's very smart like that. Anywho, for Patricia, not even just for Patricia, but for Able God, who is agnostic, in the moment where he turns to God, right? Like after that, it's because he needs that solace to quell the psychological warfare that's going on in his mind, like the dilemma, the stress, you know. I have a friend who says this thing that his mom says to him that like I give you God. I give you God because what else do I have? What else do I have? And that is literally the state of like how people see religion, see their faith. It's the only thing that I have. So I pass it down onto you, right? And that's what Abel God's mother did to him, or did for him. So there was always that disconnect, but he still went back to it, especially in this kind of time. And
yeah, in this story, religion is also kind of a very useful force, a force for good in that sense. So it's kind of like a two-edged sword in that sense. So religion also plays like important, like pivotal roles uh, in the lives of these characters. That becomes something that holds anchors them. Uh, um, so religion also does that.
It does.
Yeah.
Another thing that I love that was highlighted in the book was and very subtly, with subtlety, was the shift in Abel God's upbringing, and also which directly informed the shift in how Abel God's mother raised him and his brother. The ripping away of the middle class, because they were a very comfortable family. But then Nigeria happened and then took out the middle class, and his mother's anxiety increased. His father became a much more angry man, especially at Able God. And what was it? What was it like to be able to? And I love how, first of all, I love how you subtly like showed this shift, because what it was at the beginning, we see glimpse of their dynamic, and then you explain it later on through flashbacks with Able God. And I love, for me, I was able to see like, okay, so this is where the shift happened. This is why they are where they are. You know, why did you make that decision to write it like that and highlight that?
I don't know if you are around then, but
Alive.
but during the military regime, that was when we saw a collapse of the middle class. Um, a lot of people lost their jobs because of the military government's policies and trade on all kinds of things. So those who used to have money in the 80s, 70s, 80s, even some in the 90s,
Early 90s.
lost everything.
Everything.
Uh, so the class disparity became wider. So so the category of so to the point that you're either rich
or
poor.
poor. There's no
You
in
know?
between.
And then, of course, infrastructure collapse and so many other things that happened post-military or during the military regime also affected everyone. And I'm sure I'm not the only family. There are so many families like that, across the country. So that was kind of what inspired me to, and you know, a lot of men died, became sick and died, or they became frustrated. They tried other things. So again, back to my our conversation about the systemic issues, because a lot of times when we look at our problems, we do not think about, especially in this part of the world, we don't think about the systemic issues, the things that bring about that turn individuals into monsters and turn individuals into corrupt individuals that turn people into uh, we don't think
into
about
villains,
things,
basically.
we don't think about things like that. So part of what I'm trying to do with this novel is to grapple with that, with all those things.
One of my favorite screenwriters, Celine Song, um, she says that it's a movie about a woman who falls in love with like a very, very poor boy. And then during the press tour, they're asking her about why she like upholding broke boy propaganda with this movie. And she got really angry and she says something that really stuck with me. She says, it is unfair to blame the poor for being poor. And I think that's something that we do in this country a lot. We blame the poor for being poor.
Not only in this country, around the world. We kind of blame the poor for, not only do we blame the deify the rich.
We deify the rich.
And there's this, we create this myth around them, and then make them, and then we feel that they are rich because there's something they know that we don't know. So we create that myth around them. And so a lot of us aspire to be them. But because we aspire to be them, we can't criticize them. Because they know what we don't know. But I'm here to tell you that is just nonsense.
And on a more it's complete nonsense.
There are a lot of things that come together that make rich people rich. And a lot of those things are systemic.
They're systemic, and that's why we no longer see capitalism as a structure that can be questioned, changed, evolve or devolve into like something beneficial for the mass. But they find the people who benefit from capitalism, and it's destroying us because we're leaving so many behind.
Absolutely.
And that's why people are crossing the Sahara every time. Refugees that are displaced because people are stealing minerals from their land and causing them to be displaced. You know, political divide up north. People are finding refuge because there's systemic issues, and that's why people are crossing the Sahara. That's why there's a global migration crisis.
For example, a certain billionaire wrote a book recently, and you know, and the book is just about how you rose through the ranks and
your father was a governor,
became wealthy through government connections and you know, kind of, you know, taking opportunities that presented to you through connections, through all kinds of things. You know, almost went bankrupt, got bailed out by the same people. You know, come on. I think we should, you know, interrogate things and find out why things are happening.
Be more curious.
And understand that we live in a world where systems are not favorable to people who are not connected, who don't have people.
But the thing about curiosity is that I think curiosity comes from a place of empathy. Most of the most curious people are more often than not empathetic. But if you feel like poor people are beneath you, poor people are the cause of their problems, will you even be empathetic enough to be curious about why they are where they are? Why?
There's actually a long history, you know, of human beings blaming poor people for their conditions.
It's even in the Bible.
Yeah. So, you know, you always blame, you know, people, they go to church, they blame them for their own condition. So yeah, there's a long history of that. But you see, why not let us come together to work on the system or to make sure that the systems favor all of us?
Road to the South Sea gets picked up as a screenplay. Who should they cast me as?
You.
That's me. I'm an actor. I do act. And
that's a great question. You'll be Marufu.
I'm honored. I am actually so wow. I die in peace. Like, you don't understand. Like, this is the happiest day of my life.
They'll have to break your legs.
They'll break my legs. No, but don't worry. There's prosthetics. There's prosthetics.
Yeah, you have that Marufu vibe.
I'm actually so happy. It's just that I cannot play ball, but him too, he cannot play ball. So that's two twins. Oh, thank you. You don't know what you've done for me. You've made my day. But yeah, onto like more serious questions.
Okay.
Thank you for indulging me. I find Able God's connection with Akudo to be very intriguing, even though it's fleeting, right? Is there a version of this story where she actually follows him on the road and their connection evolves into something more? Because I feel like at the beginning I was swindled. I thought this was going to be like a story of the two of them on the journey of the road, but Akudo is nowhere to be found. So what made, how did you, was there a version where where there's some sort of romance on this journey?
There's a version where there is the possibility that something will happen. If you remember, towards the end, I don't want no spoilers here.
What have we been doing since?
I don't want to spoil it too.
Some more, okay.
I think it was one of the Coast Guard that asked,
and he says, "Do you have family?"
Family, that response, in my opinion, is very telling in the sense that, and then the idea, afterwards, you can see how it starts expecting, goes to the coast, it is anticipating the arrival of Akudo. So I think it's more about, can this person be my family? Or can something come out of this? It's been, and you see, if you notice, Able God has been harboring a lot of resentment. Throughout that journey, you see him express, harbor, resentment against Akudo, and that kind of falls off as
the moment he knows that she's fine.
Yeah. So the idea is what comes after that. What comes after all this mess.
That's how the Rugbodinho.
Yeah.
Where's the calm? Yeah.
So that's what I imagine.
I do. I know that I couldn't trust what's his name, Able God's feelings for Akudo. But there was a part of me that was like, what if this is a romance? But I do love that Akudo went on the journey on her own. It was such a surprise to see her at the end, about to enter into one of the boats. And I was like, I knew this because she was a woman who could fight. She was a woman who could fight. You could tell that she also cared a lot for her daughter. She disguised her daughter as a boy to be able to protect her, on that long journey. And it was just so beautiful to be able to see that she survived on her own. Because honestly, it would have been distracting if they were in my opinion, it would have been distracting if they were on that journey together.
Absolutely.
And she knew what she wanted and she knew how to survive. She's a survivor,
Yeah.
For you, what type of person do you think Able God becomes at the end of this journey? Because he's a man who is running away from consequence. And then he's somebody who has repeated that same thing again with Sergey, but this time with intent. So who does he become? To you, all right, who does he become at the end?
Able God is a changed man. Able God is a man who initially believed in his own virtues, but later realizes that he's human like the rest of us.
And he knows nothing.
Yeah. And now he has real scars. So Able God is probably going to carry that scar, throughout the rest of his life. He will have to live with the consequences of that scar. Maybe that scar is going to make him a better person. Maybe not. Who knows?
And I think that's very telling about life. So every day you go through so and so and such and such. I've been through my own personal share of things that have scarred me. And you would think that these moments, these very big, defining, arduous moments, you would come out of it thinking that okay, this is who I am, this is who I am. But at the end of the day, it's a new morning, it's a new dawn, and you're still figuring it out. You're still figuring it out. And that was why it was important for me to ask that question.
Yeah, he's also someone that has learned how to survive. And that will probably serve him in the future. It will probably be good for him in the future. Must also, you probably have to also learn how to forgive himself and forgive the people around him
and his family,
or not.
It's a very tricky thing being a human, because you don't really make the decision until you're met with it.
Now the story ends in a very interesting place, and the section is called Purgatory. That is, the idea is that you are in this liminal space where you are neither here nor there. And it's an interesting place to be because it's also a place of transformation. It's a place that will probably determine what next will happen to you as a character.
And what better place to be in purgatory for Able God than a place where he can play chess endlessly? Very befitting for him.
And then you also see glimpses of hope in that section. Glimpses of something to come, the possibility of a new family, the possibility of a new life, the opportunity to be able to go back to what he is passionate about. So it's wide open. The future is wide open for him.
I have to ask, the language in the book is so descriptive. And sometimes I felt like, it's a bit tedious. But I started warming up to it.
I don't know what you think. I don't know what you say. I don't know. Okay, go on.
I know.
I will explain something.
I know, but like my feelings have changed after a second sit down with it. And I realized that it had to be this way. From my own perception, that it had to be this way. It had to feel like this. It had to be dense because it is a journey after all. How did you know that how did you know that this was the style that the story required?
Yeah, it's my style. You can also, if you are familiar with my other works, I'm an immersive writer, and I want to situate my reader in a world that is very real and evocative. And that is why you really have to, it's like holding your hand as a reader and leading you through a certain landscape. Landscape is very important to me. Because I think it's important to other elements of the craft of fiction. The character and all of that. So that's what I do. I also write the kind of books that I like to read. So I'm interested in immersive works, works that are immersive and descriptive in nature.
Some examples?
Chris Famish Road.
Yeah, that's also dense, I would say.
Exactly. But if you notice, my book also moves along.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So that's the most important thing, as long as it has that propulsive effect.
So you did mention that there's a whole new book.
Yes.
That is being written.
Yes.
I have to ask, are there any rituals that you do during your writing process? Do you also sing, take glory, Father, take glory?
No.
So what do you do before you write?
I sing, but not for writing.
No.
But I sing.
When I come to Pennsylvania, we'll go for karaoke.
Okay. I typically wake up 3 a.m. every day, 3 or 4.
Amazing.
Well, I don't.
I'm a Lagosian. I have to be up by 4.
I don't advise you to copy me. I wake up. That's when in fact, between the hours of 3 and 7, best time for me to write.
Clear head.
My clear head. the worries of the previous day is gone or doesn't appears to be gone. The burden of the new day is not, the responsibilities of the new day is not yet. You have not taken on the responsibility of the new day. So I typically try to write between 3 and 7, and then I start my day. I really don't do anything productive after 7 p.m. or I don't want to. Where I teach, I always reject any class,
night classes, evening classes
to teach. No, I can't do it.
God said, and the night is for rest. Go to bed. Well, I'm excited for your sophomore. I'm excited for what it's going to be and what the future.
Yeah, me too. Like. It's set 75 years into the future.
In Jesus' name, Quiet Boy is an old man now. Quiet Boy is an old man now in this one. No?
Quiet Boy has given back to the. Let me tell you.
Noisy Book Club podcast exclusive right here. You heard it first.
And then there's also climate, post-apocalyptic climate catastrophe.
But from like an African lens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's very juicy.
Reverse migration. Yeah.
You heard it here first. This is where you get the exclusives. Actually, this is where you get the exclusives. Because we also got exclusive from Francesca. I am not subscribed. Click on it.
I hope we get an announcement soon about the book. We should get.
Yeah, and you send us a copy in Jesus' name.
Well, it's just the announcement. I don't know when it's going to come out.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so thank you so much for chatting with me about the book. Let's play a game. Don't worry, it's nothing that you have to something that you have to be worried about. So this is called Crossing Borders Quiz. So I'm just going to, your book is all about journeys and crossing boundaries. So I'm going to ask you some quick, fun questions about the world, foods, and places that you'd love to smuggle across borders. So there are no wrong answers, just quick choices from your imagination. If you could cross into any fictional world for a week, like Narnia, Middle Earth, where would it be? Wakanda, safe.
Wakanda.
I'm not saying Wakanda. And apart from Wakanda, where would you go?
Wakanda.
I would go to Atlantis.
Just because I'm very
Pan-African. Fair enough. I would go to Atlantis. I feel like in another life, I'm in Mami Water.
No.
Okay. Okay. You are crossing the desert, but you get to bring one Nigerian dish that will never spoil. Which dish is making the journey?
That will never spoil?
Yes. No, don't worry. The dish can spoil normally, but with you bring it to the desert and it will not spoil.
Gary and kuli.
Actually, you're real.
Gary and kuli and some cold water.
But the desert will heat up the water.
We'll not be drinking Gary with hot water.
Eba. They're drinking Eba.
that one is Eba.
Eba. I would carry Kuningida.
What's that?
It's like there's like granules in it. It's like a pap type situation, but it's like tuwo.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's very nice.
It's going to be funny in the heat.
No, it's not hot now. Okay. Fair enough, Sha.
But it will become
very hot. Okay. If you could instantly speak the language of any country you arrived in, which country would you choose?
Mandarin.
I know somebody is like clapping her hands in the air right now, just being like, ni hao.
I think we should all start learning. I want to learn, actually.
It's in the curriculum, didn't you see? They're like putting it in Nigerian curriculum.
I'm not sure if that is true. Maybe it's a rumor or something. I don't know.
Apparently,
Okay.
Imagine you've made it to Europe and you can bring one piece of Nigerian culture to share with the world, what would it be?
Food.
Nigerian, all of it. It's just so
You
good.
know, and you see, we kind of Nigerians don't understand how how important Nigerian food is. It's until you leave the country and live outside the country, and
and it's so diverse. There's starch in the south. There's like amala here. There's just so much.
Nigerian soups, like
soups, edikai
all those
corn,
things. It's
white soup.
nothing like it.
Oh God, I love Nigerian food.
Even though it's a bit starchy, but
we love carbs.
Mhm.
You could carry one book across every border and share it everywhere you go. Which book would it be?
I know Chris Famished Road.
In Jesus' name. What about another book that we've not mentioned today?
Ayakweyama, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born.
Oh.
That's another good book.
I would have mentioned my book, but it's not African, so I'll keep quiet. If you could cross a border and step into your dream city tomorrow, which city would it be?
Interesting. Dream city. The ones I've not been to.
Yeah, one that you haven't been to.
That's interesting. I actually want to go to China.
Which city in China?
Well, any city, doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
I want to explore China a bit. That's the only part of that part actually is the only part of the world I haven't really explored.
Oh, you haven't been to Asia?
No. Yeah.
They're on the next book tour.
Hopefully.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've just crossed plenty borders now. You've smelled good benokri. You've smelled good vegetable soup. I'm very happy, very, very excited. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Please, if you could do the honors of helping me sign my copy of The Road to the Salt Sea.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm actually so grateful. This has been the Author Book Chat with Samuel Kolawole, the author of our September Book of the Month at the Noisy Book Club, The Road to the Salt Sea. We discussed the migration crisis. We discussed human characters and how flawed they can be. We discussed what he would carry with him if he was going to enter inside the Sahara. And it has been such a beautiful conversation. He had it in his house. Thank you so much for having us. Okay. And we are so excited for your sophomore. Yeah. Pick up The Road to the Salty by Samuel Kolawole at your nearest bookstore. Join us at the Noisy Book Club at the last Saturday of every month. Share, like, subscribe, hit every button that is positive. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode.